Knife Sports Adventures here. Today I'm going to take a look at the Civivi Perf. This is a small knife. Inside the box you've got a nice quarter pouch. In the quarter pouch you've got some pretty cool accessories. You have a fairly large polishing cloth. Not quite handkerchief size, but it's bigger than you normally get with something like this. You get a couple really cool stickers, a little knife sticker and a Civivi sticker, and you get warranty card and the knife. So this is the Civivi Perf. It is a small frame lock, blade just over 3 inches. For comparison, here is a SOG Vision, which I consider to be kind of a regular mid-sized knife. There's it in my large to extra large glove-sized hand. There's the Perf, just enough for a 4-finger grip. Small handle, nice depth this way, but it's a little on the thin side. There is the knife. Good flipper action, somewhat small flipper, but if you get it with the pad of your finger and not the very tip, it flips really nicely. It is possible to get it to not go all the way, but it's really easy to do the right way. This is, a knife that they did the intent well enough that I am comfortable with the flipper being the only way to open this knife. A lot of knives I appreciate when they put a thumb stud or something on there too, but this one they've definitely gone for slim, small size, reduce anything unnecessary, and just make the flipper action good enough that that's all you need. And they have succeeded in that. It is a frame lock, steel frame lock. There's no detent to keep you from over pushing the frame lock, but it's stiff enough that that's not really an issue. So again, very minimal on the design there. Deep carry pocket clip, pretty well designed, good retention, enough space for jeans or something like that. There's the pivot, bolt on this side, cool Civivi logo on that side. So let's talk function. Nice cutting edge, it's not too curved, gives you good slicing ability, nice pointiness. From the factory, this actually comes with a polished edge, so it's not like the ground edge where you can see the little chunks in it like with most knives. This knife was actually the polished edge from the factory, so it was shaving sharp from the factory. One of the best edges I've seen on a factory knife. Sharpness testing, 50 slices through my standard bamboo skewer. This was noticeably duller. 75 slices through, it was no longer shaving sharp, and at 100 slices through, it started tearing paper when you do your long ways through the paper test this way. 100 slices is where that started tearing the paper from a shaving sharp. So decent edge holding. Not the best I've ever seen, but not terrible. This is a Nitro V steel, which is not a standard nitrogen steel, which is a little confusing. It will rust. Its corrosion resistance is not as good as something like a 440C, and it's definitely not nearly up to the rust proofness of like an H1 or LC200N nitrogen steel. So a little confusing on that, but Nitro V steel is pretty well known now. Size wise, handling wise, I really like the size of this knife this way for a small knife. They haven't skimped too much on the handle, but you're not going to slide up onto the blade. It's a little thin this way, so this is definitely not a hard use knife. This is a knife for pull it out of your pocket occasionally, use it to cut something, put it back. If you're using this all day, that handle would be a little thin. It does start to get a little bit diggy into your hand here. This is a full review, so I am going to go ahead and start disassembling the knife here. I'm taking off the pocket clip first because the pocket clip kind of runs interference for one of the other screws on this knife, and that clip has been put in there with some very serious Loctite. I just stripped out one of my Torx bits trying to get it out. Just kidding, we're not doing a disassembly video of this knife because I just stripped out 2 Torx bits trying to get that pocket clip out. Here we are. Alright, top bolt is coming out. Bottom bolt, I'm going to try to spin the pocket clip to get it out of there. I'll try spinning it this way. There we go. I don't know if that's coming or not. So, those are good things to know when you buy a knife. How tough is it to get apart? So that bolt is actually so tightly in there that it's stripped. So I won't be taking that one out, but I can get the rest of the knife apart for the review here. Going up to a T8 for the structural bolts there. Coming out there. So there's just 2 structural bolts and the pivot pin on this one. It is a kind of a small knife. Take a look at the bearings here in a second, and this is actually T8 as well. Didn't have to go up to the T10 for that one. So coming off there, you can see external stop pin on this one, which is nice to see. Nice recessed, kind of that curved area back in the blade there. That's some nice attention to detail because that makes the locking mechanism last longer, given that you got more surface area on that stop pin there. Rather large bearing system for a knife this small. That's good to see because it means that the bearing system will last longer on this knife. You're not going to wear it out and get a lot of blade play quickly. Bearings are recessed into the blade there, so nice machining work there. They're also recessed into the handle. Again, that makes the knife thinner on both sides. So they've done quite a bit of work to get this to a thin, very slim carryable size. Standoffs there are actually also kind of recessed into the outside of the handle, so they fit in very tightly. Pretty nice design on that little knife. I like it. And this is actually one that I'm keeping. This is going to go into my carry rotation so I can get some long-term impressions on that. And it's going to end up being a project knife with that extra scale on there. So hope that review is helpful. Keep adventuring. And that is my thoughts and notes on the Civivi Perf.